Welcome to another episode of EdHeroes Voices, where we bring you inspiring stories from around the world. I'm Alina Baimen, and today we have a very special guest joining us all the way from Myanmar, Htet Thiri Shwe. She is the CEO of MYEO, and she is the EdHeroes Myanmar Hub leader. Htet, how are you today?
Feeling great. Thank you so much for EdHeroes and Alina for bringing me in this room.
It's amazing. Thank you for joining us. Let's start with your personal journey. You describe yourself as a curious learner, innovative thinker with very strong transdisciplinary thinking skills. And I was just wondering, can you tell us a little bit about MYEO, what you do, and how you came to do that?
Yeah, sure. We're actually 10 years old this year. It's been
Wow.
Yeah, it's a lot. So if I have a baby, it's just gonna be all 10 years old. Yeah, it's January. So so how I came about to MYEO is I was educated in Myanmar, public school. Like we're not really from much families or anything. Like my mom's crazy about educations, and we're always about learning. And when I was going to the universities in the first year in Myanmar, it was 2010. So it was a period where the universities are not allowed for any type of sticker on the wall, or we're not really just designed to ask questions, or there's no collaboration beside. If you post something on the wall, and then you actually could be expelled. That kind of restrictive area of what a university could be. And we realized that as a young person going through my mind, sitting there in the classrooms, and I really want to explore the world, see the world, but I don't know how. What's the context? Like how can someone could afford go study abroad or become a part of a learning journey and ask questions and things like that. So I was fortunate enough to have 3 friends who share opportunity about learning opportunity. Then through this opportunity that they shared me as a friend, I came to open my door step by step to like very critical thinking, and like got to go to conference, got to have a scholarship. And if my friends didn't share this this opportunity, I wouldn't be able to get where I am. So we want to be a friend for the young people in Myanmar, and like we want to tell them what's out there. We want to tell those lonely young people across Myanmar, I know what you're thinking, and we're dedicated MYU as a good friends for the young people in Myanmar, share opportunity about their growth. So that's the target that I founded in 2014, 13, like transitions in December. And then that's exactly why we founded as first as information opportunity share platform. And later, the word we work with young people across the Myanmar, we figure out those gaps that which we're filling. So yeah, that's where we are today after 10 years. We're still one of the largest information sharing community for young people. And not only just we share information about opportunities out there, but also we help them, guide them, process them on the skills that they need to develop, either within our own curriculums or with the partner with the university abroad or internally educator. So they learn century skills like how to think critically, how to be savvy and digital, how to do career related services. So very minor for like the blog works. But for Myanmar, these kind of opportunity and skill gaps are enormous. So we want to be that ladder that the youth can grow. And this is entire ecosystem. We have run campaigns that have reached 1 million youth during COVID-19, for instance, about mental health. We train young people across Myanmar using our own built chatbot to 100,000 youths in every part of the country. So our mandate really is about equitable access. So any product that we push out, it has to be everyone accessible to young people in Myanmar with a target group. It shouldn't be just for city folks. It could be for youth who has the internet and can access that. Yeah.
That makes sense. And you're working in Myanmar right now. Can you talk a little bit about how it is working in the current political situation?
Yeah, as you might be hearing news and reading news, but we're quite silent from the news phase as the trending news headlines are. So basically, we're going through a very, very tough period of civil wars. Especially the young people are being targeted at a different level. So that's also give a window of opportunity to rethink what education really is, and how do we engage in the time of crisis and moving onwards as well. So currently right now, as you might be aware on or not aware, if you Google, that you might hear schools getting bombed, like children, babies doing airstrike and dying in kindergarten and things like that. That's day-to-day basis in the current educational space, and that's quite sad. But that doesn't mean like there has to be a stop on the education. So we need to be working extra hard, extra dedicated to make sure that the kids and children are getting access to education, and also the youths who are not in the formal process but still in the process of like doing service in the times of crisis. A lot of young people take on roles of different roles, being in the education sector, like becoming a teacher to the kids who are not in the school anymore, be in the military service, or be in the healthcare service, be in the humanitarian service. Like there are a lot of young people contributing on different steps. By the process of formal education, I would say we're a lot less worse than before. So that would mean also that there is a future that we could hope for in the process. Currently, this educational crisis also has given a space for rethinking about how do we define education. Does it mean that people has to be in the classroom? Does it mean that if they are in the classroom and they're going through a particular curriculum, that's how they're educated? Or, if these young people who are going through this crisis, like which is enormous and life-threatening, even if they're going through the crisis and they can overcome it, and meanwhile they're contributing to society with a particular skill set, will it be considered as part of the education process as well? So it's sort of like this crisis give me and our team will give it a lot of thoughts on how we can approach education in a youth space.
Makes sense. How does MYEO operate within that right now? Like, are there any tools that MYEO offers, or the way that you adapted to the situation?
Yes. Even before the coup and COVID, we started off training very basic but very essential basic digital skills in 2017. So those are the early days. So we launched 21st on December 2017 on like skill set that would empower you for basic using basic digital tool. So while we're actually reaching out, we have found a very different behavior than normal students in the developed world would do. A lot of the tools that are set up for educator in Myanmar at the time and even till now available are mostly developed by the, let's say, like folks in the global north, or they have tools like that set up with good intentions. But when we have the learner from very different part of the corner of the Myanmar, and it might be the first time that they're learning online, they don't know how to use internet properly, or they're the first comer to the internet in 2017. That's created a very different space and their very different approach to how to actually reach to these youth and teach effectively how to utilize online. So since then, we have found that there are websites, applications. At the time, there are a lot of people were building apps, websites, things like that, and we didn't really take that approach. Because when we were working very closely with youths, we have figured out that their digital behavior is very different from the behavior that usual film app people would download and they will use it. So we have to sort of leave our ego at the door. And then I really okay, how do you behave? What do you want? What's the best for you? What's not best for me? At the table is good internet, but what's best for you somewhere in the field, because we have students rolling their boat across the lake to get internet access. We have students climbing the mountains on top of the hill to get access to the internet. What's good for you? Like what's best work for you? So since then, 2016, 17, 18, we have realized that the way to approach our youth and not to make them feel like online learning, it's not for them, but this is an easy process of access and you can just do it easily. So how do we, approach that? So that was the biggest problem that we faced when we were figuring out the tool that you mentioned. Like we started building chatbots in 2016 for reaching out, and then like 17, 18, we're gradually building ourselves how to really just teach young people with just a message. So those tools that we built before the coup and after the coup, those are still very relevant even till now, especially with the internet space is getting very severely restricted, either with VPN, access control, or the internet being cut off, even in the internet cut off area, or there are occasional internet connections. We need to be cautious about what kind of internet connectivity, and when they come online, what's the easy access that they can do. So even till now, there are a lot of part of the Myanmar that doesn't have internet access. Even till now, the connectivity is more or less there. And when people are connected, our tools still be relevant. So the method or approach is still relevant. The eagerness for young people is still there. Like for a lot of young people who are really desperate to learn, to the point that one of our program, our acceptance rate 5%. It's quite sad, but we could really accept more applicant in one of our leadership program, but there was 1,000 applicants applying. One of the few things that we probably have changed is how to treat data, how to make the learners feel safe, and because they're recent, whenever they're outside, they could be checked at any point on what they're learning or reading on either a Telegram or Messenger or Facebook. And that could create frictions or problem, or even life-threatening for the learner side. So we're always make sure that when we're trying to teach, we treat the data as one of the sacred process. We didn't really treat data lightly. Who we're connecting, how do we teach, how does the process work? All the skill set that we're teaching are more or less very neutralized digital skills, cybersecurity, how to use online learning effectively and safely, skill set on career and life skills. Those are essentially what we approach. Don't do sensitive education stuff. We're in the context of where everything's complicated, we treat data as a sacred process. How do we process data? Who get access to which data? Who access to what? And document, are people reading? Would that be good for the young learner on the ground, both on the security side or if you skill set side? Would that be good for, their environment that they're operating in? So it's everyday work sort of become a little bit more difficult. And another thing that we changed would be the curriculum. As I mentioned, before we were more or less standardizing along with supplementary on making them more holistic learner. But now we have approach the curriculum in a way of the theme under transformative resilience. So our pedagogy is simple. It's great if you're in a formal education, you get a bachelor, but also if you are in a crisis of this skill and you don't die and you actually learn how to survive, and on top of that, you actually help your community, that means you're actually doing great with particular skills. That means you're more or less experienced, educated, well-rounded person, So that's where we're approaching the curriculum. So we're better on service learning, experiential learning, and how do you reflect on that? How do you process that? How do you solve immediate problem? And how do you build resilience within you, which is mental well-being as well. And how do you build resilience in the community? So these are the couple of curriculum changes that we did. Yeah, so those two major changes would be something that we did differently.
Makes sense. You have so many initiatives and projects, and the way you operate is quite interesting and very, very difficult. I mean, I really applaud you on the work that you're doing. Do you think that you have a favorite initiative that you're doing at MYEO?
Yeah, it's hard to pin out.
Yeah, yeah, it's your favorite child.
I wouldn't say favorite initiative. We don't really treat empowering young people as a singular dimensional activity.
Yeah.
Just let's do leadership or just let's do this. So we see this as more of a holistic process of creating a community, a space where the young people feel comfortable and also providing skill set that they need. Because when we talk about young people, the young people are not at one phase. They have different needs and different dreams and perspective, different contexts. So of course we have planned for STEM employment education. We teach like really intensive programming courses and we link them with employment. So that's under Digital Skill Institute, which we name it. So we're mostly targeting on equipping more programming skills and they have a secure livelihood along the way. So, and then we have Experiential Leadership Institute, which I just mentioned, like transformative resilience. Like how do you approach educations who are in the service area, who are on the ground, like contributing to the community? And that's the major. And we have seen so many success stories out of it. A lot of young people leading in the sector. And then, of course, general educations on like the general audience at an affordable rate. And then like, we have the technology. So we're giving this as a 10-year anniversary, we're giving out our education chatbot project to educator, not just in Myanmar, but in the future, we're expanding to other global south as well, like to be able to use it. So very effectively, easy, just a message away from teaching. So these are all the initiatives that we're doing. If I were to pick out one thing, it was very difficult. Yeah, but I can pick out the ideology of why building things. So we really believe in community plus technology. We really think that one community space of young people who want to develop themselves and community like even EdHeroes, because we're together in this, right? Like, even a community of EdHeroes and all the university, like Dublin's like professor contributing their curriculums and processes to teach. So these kind of initiatives sort of, I would say, community, not just the young people themselves, but the local and also the international who believe in education. So this community space is very critical, I would say. And then that's amplified by technology for the people in the community. I think that's where we're sort of always anchoring. Even doesn't matter what kind of we're approaching or where we're connecting, but we're sticking to this community with technology. The technology, not just a technologist mindset, because coming from a technology where we always have like, oh, like I'm going to build this, this is sparkling and like you're going to use it, right? Like, not just a way of like, oh, you're going to use what I built, but the technology does serve the community. That's very critical.
Like your chatbots.
Like the chatbots. We have so much criticism before, but now the ChatGPT is sort of like leading the way. So a lot of criticism has blurred out. Like before in 20s, like I still remember 18 or 19, there was one VC was saying to me like, why are you building chatbot? Like what is in it? Like build an app. I'm like, why am I spend the little money that I have on tech that my like community
not even being used,
struggle to use? That doesn't make any sense. So even though we're doing different initiatives, I believe that it's really anchored around community that believe in education, that not only the educator, but also the young people themselves and the technology that enable them and design them for them.
All right, so on to like our very last part of the interview. I'll just ask you very quick questions and you can give me the first answer that comes to mind. Okay, ready? What's your favorite book?
There are a lot of favorite books, but recently this morning I just talked about Woman Who Half the Sky book. It's one of the required reading when I was in my undergrad, and I love the book. It's about, like woman empowerment. It's also part of culture. How do we define woman leaderships in the space of revolutions and why it's needed and critical? And essentially also for the education, like, why kids are educated. Of course, also dad's involved, but the more educated the mom is, the more educated the kids are as well. So women essentially, are critical in the space of education as well. Yeah.
Makes sense. That's beautiful. Thank you. I want to read that. Is there a place in Myanmar that you think everyone should visit?
There are lots of places in Myanmar everyone should visit. It's a beautiful country. We have everything. We have a snow mountains, we have beach, we have a dry area, we have rainforest, you have like whole area. So it's a multitude of like different flavor. Everyone should come visit to Myanmar after the war. And so one of the particular places that I really like, I think it's quite easily accessible, like Bagan, Yau, like those are Asian cities. Nice to bike around and give you collective like Asian vibe.
Is there actually any you think, myths or misconceptions that people have about Myanmar that you think are not true?
You know, like about the fact that we're the longest civil wars in the world, essentially. So even this revolution, a lot of my like my friends and from outside, they're like, you're having the wars, and are you gonna win this or things like that? So I mean, it's very critical not to undermine the will of the people, like the will of the people of the majority, and if they're strong and united with the strong will, that could be a substantial tie.
Yeah.
So I think the misconception is we don't really want to go anywhere. We just want our like peaceful home back. So I think this current crisis being there, though, it's currently spilling over the regional aspects. And I really hope that the regional government and fellow leaders treating this as a regional issues and putting people at the first interactions. So don't undermine the will of the people. It's not really a misconception, but because usually we grow up like even the will of the people are usually not put on the forefront, but more logical. So yeah, that would be not just from Myanmar, but also for the rest of the world. There could be a
Yeah, I see what you mean. It's, I guess when you're looking from the outside, it's people are quick to give advice or ask things that wouldn't necessarily be applicable. But I love that you said we don't want to go anywhere. We just want home to feel like home. Yeah, it's beautiful. Another actually really wonder about Myanmar, about the food. Is there a favorite dish that you have? What is it? And
wow, my God, that's a very difficult question. I have lots of favorites. Definitely moringa. You should try it. It's like a food that you eat all the time. You miss it.
What is it
if you don't eat it? It's a fish paste noodle soups, essentially. It has everything in it. It has like a banana. It's like a pretty heavy beans, rice. It's everything, like crunchy soups, like warm. It's very heartwarming.
I haven't
had a lot of diverse food. I'm sorry about that. Yeah. No, it's a pretty famous standard dishes. So even if you are in a different part of the world, different culture, different part of Myanmar, people still love moringa, I think. So I love moringa.
That's amazing. I'm really actually excited to come to Myanmar and try the food, visit all the places that you talked about. That sounds wonderful. And I'm wishing MYEO all the best on your journey. I love the projects that you're doing, obviously EdHeroes, and you have been working for a while now, but it never kind of stops to astonish us the amount of things that you do. Yeah, and it's huge pleasure speaking with you today, so thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Alina. EdHeroes is amazing at what you do, and I'm really glad that we're part of the journey in the process.
Thank you so much. And thanks to all our listeners for tuning in today into the episode of EdHeroes Voices. Remember to check out more inspiring stories from around the world in our podcast platform. Until next time, and keep learning and stay inspired. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you.